Few beverages have shaped human history as deeply as tea. From the misty mountains of ancient China to the elegant drawing rooms of England, from Japanese temples to Indian plantations, tea has been a symbol of peace, power, and connection. It has inspired rituals, sparked wars, built empires, and soothed billions of souls. The story of tea is not just about a drink. It is a story about civilization itself.
Welcome to Eras Connected, where history comes alive. Step into the past, explore forgotten stories, and uncover the moments that shaped our world. Let's journey through time together.
Let us journey across 5,000 years of history to trace how a simple leaf became the world's most beloved beverage. The origins of tea stretch deep into the mists of legend, all the way to ancient China nearly 5,000 years ago. According to Chinese folklore, the discovery of tea is credited to the wise Emperor Shen Nong, a mythic ruler, scholar, and herbalist who lived around 2737 BCE. Shen Nong was known for his curiosity about plants and their medicinal properties. He insisted that all drinking water be boiled before consumption, a practice far ahead of his time. One day, while he rested under a wild tea tree, the wind carried a few leaves into his pot of boiling water. The aroma intrigued him, and he decided to taste the brew. The flavor was refreshing, slightly bitter, yet soothing. Shen Nong felt revitalized, alert, and peaceful. Thus, the first cup of tea was born, not by intention, but by accident. From that moment, tea became part of Chinese medicine and daily life, celebrated for its ability to quench thirst, heal the body, and sharpen the mind. In the centuries that followed, tea evolved from a medicinal herb to a cultural staple. During the Zhou dynasty, 1046 to 256 BCE, people used tea leaves in herbal concoctions and religious offerings. By the Han dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 CE, tea drinking had become common among scholars and nobles. The tea of ancient China was quite different from what we know today. It was not brewed from loose leaves, but boiled with spices, herbs, or even onions and ginger. Early teas were more like soups than drinks. It wasn't until the Tang dynasty, 618 to 907 CE, that tea became a refined beverage, a symbol of sophistication and art. The Tang era was the golden age of tea in China. During this time, the poet and scholar Lu Yu wrote a book titled Cha Jing, the Classic of Tea, the world's first written treatise on tea culture. Lu Yu described the ideal ways to grow, prepare, and drink tea, elevating it to a spiritual experience. Tea became a symbol of harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility, values that still define tea culture today. By the Song dynasty, 960 to 1279 CE, tea drinking had spread across all levels of society. The Chinese developed elegant tea ceremonies, emphasizing mindfulness and grace. Tea preparation turned into an art. Powdered tea was whisked into froth in porcelain bowls, foreshadowing the Japanese tea ceremony centuries later. Tea houses became gathering places for poets, scholars, and travelers. They were centers of conversation, music, and literature, the cafes of ancient China. Different regions began to specialize in different types of tea: green, white, oolong, and black, depending on how the leaves were processed. the Song emperors loved tea so much that they sponsored tea competitions, where the finest teas were judged by their color, aroma, and taste. By then, tea was no longer just a drink, it was a reflection of Chinese identity and civilization. As Chinese merchants and monks traveled, so did tea. Tea first spread to neighboring regions like Tibet, Korea, and Japan through cultural and trade exchanges. By the 6th century, Buddhist monks carried tea to Japan, where it became part of monastic life. Tea helped monks stay awake during long hours of meditation. Over time, Japan developed its own tea culture, influenced by Zen Buddhism. This led to the creation of the Japanese tea ceremony, known as cha-nu, a ritual of simplicity, discipline, and mindfulness that remains an integral part of Japanese culture today. Meanwhile, in Tibet, tea took a very different form. Due to the harsh climate, Tibetans developed butter tea, made from tea leaves, yak butter, and salt, a hearty, energy-rich drink still popular in the Himalayas. Through the Silk Road and maritime routes, tea began to reach Central Asia, India, and eventually the Middle East, slowly preparing for its encounter with the West. For over 2,000 years, tea remained an Asian secret. It wasn't until the early 16th century that tea reached Europe, carried by Portuguese and Dutch traders. The Portuguese were among the first Europeans to encounter tea in China and Japan around the 1500s. They brought small amounts back to Europe, where it was considered a curiosity, an exotic medicine. However, it was the Dutch East India Company that began importing tea commercially. By the 1630s, tea was being sold in Amsterdam, then spreading to France, Germany, and eventually England. At first, tea was extremely expensive, a luxury reserved for the wealthy and noble. It was sold in tiny quantities in apothecaries as a remedy for headaches and melancholy. But soon, Europe fell in love with it, and nowhere more passionately than in England. Tea arrived in England around 1657, but it wasn't until 1662 that it became truly fashionable, thanks to Queen Catherine of Braganza, a Portuguese princess who married King Charles II. Catherine adored tea and made it part of the royal court's daily routine. Soon, aristocrats followed her lead, and tea drinking became a symbol of elegance and sophistication. By the early 18th century, tea had spread throughout British society. Tea gardens, tea houses, and the tradition of afternoon tea became central to English culture. However, tea was heavily taxed by the government, up to 100% of its value. This made it a symbol of both luxury and rebellion. Smuggling and illegal trade flourished as people sought to avoid the steep taxes on their beloved beverage. As the British Empire expanded, tea became more than a drink. It became a cornerstone of global trade and colonial power. To satisfy Europe's growing thirst for tea, the British East India Company took control of trade with China. By the 1700s, China was the only major tea producer in the world. The British imported tons of tea every year, paying for it with silver, which began to drain Britain's economy. To solve this, the East India Company began selling opium in China, exchanging it for tea, a trade that eventually led to the Opium Wars in the mid-19th century. As relations with China deteriorated, the British sought to grow tea elsewhere, particularly in their colonies. They turned to India, where the climate of Assam and Darjeeling proved ideal for tea cultivation. By the late 1800s, India became one of the world's largest tea producers, breaking China's ancient monopoly. The British also introduced tea plantations to Ceylon, modern-day Sri Lanka, after a disease wiped out its coffee crops. Thus, tea became not just a drink, but the economic engine of the British Empire, driving global trade across Asia and Africa. Tea didn't just shape empires, it shaped revolutions. In 1773, tea became the symbol of colonial protest during the Boston Tea Party, one of the key events that led to the American Revolution. The British government had imposed taxes on tea imported into the American colonies through the Tea Act, giving the East India Company a monopoly. Outraged colonists, disguised as Native Americans, boarded British ships in Boston Harbor and dumped 342 chests of tea into the sea in protest. The event was both a political statement and an act of rebellion, and it proved that tea had become far more than a beverage. It had become a symbol of freedom, identity, and resistance. The 19th century marked another transformation. With the Industrial Revolution, tea became affordable for the working class.
Mass production, faster shipping, and cheaper sugar made tea accessible to everyone. It was no longer a drink for the wealthy, it was the fuel of the industrial worker. Factories ran on the rhythm of tea breaks. Workers sipped strong black tea with milk and sugar to stay energized through long shifts. At home, families gathered for evening tea, a comforting ritual after the day's labor. By the late 1800s, tea had become a national identity in Britain, as essential as bread itself. As tea spread across the world, different cultures made it their own. In India, locals developed the beloved chai, strong black tea brewed with milk, sugar, cardamom, and spices. In Japan, the tea ceremony remained a sacred tradition, emphasizing beauty and simplicity. In China, green tea continued to symbolize purity and wisdom. In Morocco, mint tea became a gesture of hospitality. And in Russia, the samovar, a large tea urn, became the heart of every home. The 20th century brought new innovations. In 1908, American tea merchant Thomas Sullivan accidentally invented the tea bag. When he sent samples of tea in small silk pouches, customers brewed them whole instead of emptying the leaves. Instant tea powders and iced tea followed, especially popular in the United States. Tea became truly global, a drink of choice in nearly every nation. Beyond its taste and comfort, tea has long been admired for its health benefits. Tea leaves are rich in antioxidants, particularly catechins and polyphenols, which help reduce inflammation, improve heart health, and protect against disease. Different types of tea, green, black, white, oolong, and pu'er, each have distinct compositions and flavors. All come from the same plant, Camellia sinensis, but differ in how the leaves are processed and oxidized. Tea also contains L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes calm focus, a perfect balance to the caffeine it carries. Across cultures, tea has become a symbol of connection, reflection, and mindfulness, a pause in the chaos of life. Today, tea is the second most consumed beverage in the world after water. It transcends geography, language, and religion. China and India remain the largest producers, while the UK, Turkey, and Ireland are among the biggest consumers. In every corner of the globe, tea holds a unique meaning, from a morning ritual to a spiritual offering. In an age of technology and haste, tea reminds us to slow down, to sit, sip, and breathe. Modern tea culture is also undergoing a renaissance. Artisanal and specialty teas are gaining popularity, focusing on sustainability, organic farming, and ethical trade. Tea festivals, tastings, and ceremonies are celebrated worldwide, uniting ancient traditions with modern creativity. Even as coffee dominates urban culture, tea continues to thrive as a universal symbol of peace and hospitality. From the mythic brews of Emperor Shen Nong to the modern tea bag, tea's journey has been long and extraordinary. It has traveled across empires, oceans, and centuries, shaping economies, sparking revolutions, and soothing hearts. Tea began as a chance discovery, a leaf drifting into hot water, yet it became one of humanity's most enduring traditions. It is more than a drink. It is a ritual, a conversation, a philosophy. Every cup of tea connects us to the past, to the hands of farmers, the wisdom of monks, and the stories of explorers. It reminds us that peace can be brewed in something as simple as water and leaves. As the steam rises from your cup, remember, you are tasting history, 5,000 years of it.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Eras Connected, where history comes alive. Your support helps us uncover more incredible stories from the past. See you in the next video.